Nowadays, there are so many tutorials and videos how to make money with a trading bot, or how effective trading bots are, or even how AI agents can trade on their own. But if you go to the video, you rarely see the code. And that's where things get spicy. With this tutorial, I want to show you how to create trading bots from your own perspective, with all code examples and learning by doing. To start we start with a simple trading algorithm and gets later more advanced. If you're interested, stay focused. Hello and welcome back. I'm Data Science Dom, and today we start with our series about creating algorithms to predict stock prices in the end, and later on integrate it into working trading applications. So first of all, with this video and the next video, we start with creating a simple algorithm that just predicts the stock prices. And how we can start? We need data, because machine learning is about data. How we get the data? Let's jump right into it. So first we open Google, go to Kaggle.com. This is where you get all data from. So later on, this will be your main guide. If you go to machine learning, want some data, this is it. There are some different things, for example, competitions. At the competitions, you can gain knowledge and compete with other machine learning engineers or software developers, or also for big prize pools. So if you are interested in, here are sometimes also stock prediction contests. So if you follow the videos along and think you can good with stock predictions and see competition here, just go for it. But today, the most important part is we need data. So we go to the starting page, go to search, and in here we give in Tesla stock data, because today we will work with Tesla stock data. Then we have some different data sets and possibilities. If I click to data sets, I see directly the data sets, and we go to this data set in the end. It's a Tesla stock data from 2010 to 2020. If I click on the side, I see all details about the data set. I can download it directly over here, but later on we will do it in the code. And I see a data card. Over here also codes are, so different people upload their codes for predicting stock prices within this data set. And there you can get some hints or tweaks how to adjust the code from this video. Then here's this discussion forum if you have questions to the data set or directly to codes over here. If you have questions to this video, then just ask it in the comment section below. Then the data card. Here's everything about the data. Some descriptions, some acknowledgements, etc., and where the data comes from for sure. Right now, Finance Yahoo is a good site to get data directly. So later on, we will also see how to use this in detail directly. Then beneath, we see an overview how the data is structured. We have a CSV file, which has 175 kilobytes, so it's pretty small, but easy to handle in the first step. We have 7 columns. 6 columns are floating values, where we have the high, low, close, adjusted close, and volume price, and for sure the open price. So the OHLC values, so typical stock candle values we see at the market, and we have the volume at the end. And we have chronologically sorted date values to see at each date, okay, what is the open, high, low, close price. So we can simply make a trading bot prediction with this. Exactly, and the close price later on will be our target goal. So we want to predict the next close price with our values. Okay, so much to Kaggle. I will link you exact data set in the description of the video, but now we jump right into the coding part. So first of all, when we start programming, we need to create a file. We call it like Tesla-stock prediction .ipython notebook. We use Jupyter Notebooks in this course in order that you can see eventually what I'm doing. We get the direct output without scripting. I think all the time Jupyter Notebooks are a good thing to see directly what's going on there. Okay, first of all, our first import is Kaggle Hub. Before we can make this import running, we need to select our kernel. I currently have an Anaconda environment created for this course, where I'm running all of this. If you don't know how to set up environments, I have an old video there, but just comment below and I create a new video to see how to make those updates in the end. If you want to install another dependency, just open your terminal. I have the shortcut in here. The shortcut is written here for you on terminal, new terminal. Then you can go in here and then you can conda activate. If you use Anaconda, if you use a virtual environment, just use the activate script. For example, I am activating YouTube right now. Then I see, okay, it's on in here. And then if you need to install, for example, Kaggle Hub, because usually you don't have this already installed in your environment, you just hit the pip install and then you are ready to go if you use it. If I use it, says it's already satisfied because I installed everything already. But yeah, if you have an error saying no module named this or that, then just use the pip install. Then we're using pandas for CSV creation and manipulation. We use NumPy for some small adjustments in numerical values. And we use matplotlib for first visualizations as PLT. And then we use the scikit-learn. There it's a bit difficult because if you need to install scikit-learn, you're not using sklearn in here because you need to pip install scikit-learn like this, pip install scikit-learn. But otherwise, just hit it into Google, say pip install sklearn, and then it will provide you with the right documentation. But yeah, then you get scikit-learn. Then we use the linear model from there, linear_model, and we import the linear regression. Easy model, just linear regression. We have date values, we have different floating values, so nothing special. Then we import the different metrics because in the testing stage, we later want to have a look how good our model is performing. If you don't know what training testing stage is, I have a video already uploaded about theoretical parts in machine learning. Just have a look at this. I will link it to you. And we have a look at the mean absolute error, like the positive error between data points, like the testing value and the prediction value. We have look at the mean squared value, where you have positive and negative values, but you square it and take the root later on, which is the most common measure. And we have the true score, which just evaluates how good our prediction in the end or our linear regression model can explain the target variable. We imported everything works fine. Then we take a path. We make path is Kaggle Hub dataset download, and then you need the path to the dataset. If you don't remember it, how we went to this, we go here and we see, okay, we have Tesla stock data and it's from Tim Boslowski. So Timo Boss is his username. So it's simply this name / that name without the data and put it in. So I have prepared it already. We get rid of those, add it like this, and then I print the path for you. If I execute this, we see the path on my local computer. So you have a cache folder. In the cache folder is Kaggle Hub datasets, and there are all the files stored if you download more of them. Then later on, if we have the data, we need to access it. If we want to access it, just import OS. Then we can go a bit deeper and load in the CSV file. So let's first print the directory which we are in there from the path. If we have a look at it, we see, oh, there's the Tesla CSV. That's pretty good because this file is what we want. So we want to retrieve the CSV file. We could simply say, okay, take the CSV file in there, but for later use cases, if we have multiple CSV files or we rename the file, we make it a bit more resistant to errors. So we take file for file in OS list dir. So we get a list, if we list it here, as we saw beneath, with the Tesla CSV. If you have multiple values, we have a list in here, but we only want CSV files. So if file.ends with, and then we have the .csv. So we get all CSV files in the folder. As we only want the first one, we take a 0 at the end. If you want to retrieve another one, then you can make more of those. Then we make a data frame to easier handle it. we make a read CSV, then we join the path, because right now we have the path to the file, but we also need the file name, which is the CSV file. And then we make a df.head and see if everything works correctly. And surprisingly, it does. Perfect. We have the date, we have all the OHLC values, adjusted close, and volume. See, the volume is not a floating value, it's an integer value. Sorry for the misunderstanding before. But yes, we have all the data in here. If I do not use the head and to at the end just a df, we see, okay, we have 2,416 rows and 7 columns. Yes, but the head usually just displays the first 5 rows of this. Okay, so before we can manipulate the data and make feature engineering, we need to make some data sanity. So first of all, we need to rename the columns, because often it can happen that by downloading it or using the CSV file, they get some spacings in the column names. So just ensure columns.str.strip. This will remove every white space at the beginning or at the end. Then we ensure that the date value is really date encoded. So we make pd.toDatetime, make a df/date. So we just cast the date column to date time instances to ensure it's really correct. And then we sort it by the date values. Usually, if you get data from Kaggle, it's already cleaned and it's no problem at all. But to ensure it, and later on, if you have your own data, which may have missing values or something like this, we clean it beforehand. So, as I already said, if there are missing values, we drop them right now. Then we make the df.head again, have an overview and see, okay, it looks exactly the same as before, but this is only because the data is already clean. So props to Kaggle and to the user, it's a good data set already. And now, before we can predict something, we want to see how did the stock value change over time. Therefore, we have matplotlib. So we make a plt.figure, ensure it's in lowercase, make a fig size of 12 to 5. So we have a width of 12, a size, a height of 5. Then we plot, first of all, df date, which is our x-axis, and the df close, which is our y-axis, to see later on, okay, how has the closing price performed over time. Make a small title, and it is the Tesla closing price over time. And I already all the time write price wrong. Okay, then we have an X label where we have the date. We have an Y label where we have the closing price. And we ensure we have a grid to later more easy can read the data from, and we show the plot in the end. Then we see, okay, this is the Tesla closing price over time. We started from 2010 to 2020, which the dataset already set. And we see, okay, we have not much movement between 2010 to 2013 and a half, like April or something like this. And then between April 2013 and like the May of 2019, we have bigger peaks, more movement in the market, and later on at the end of, or the beginning of Corona in the end, and we have a massive price increasement. If you know the history of Tesla, it was at this time where everybody shorted Tesla and they thought, okay, maybe it will die in the end. But then the shorts stopped and some pretty interesting price movements started from there. So first of all, we now know how the data looks. So if you want to analyze the data and predict patterns, stay on for the next video because we stop over here. And in the next video, we implement the model. So thank you for following the video until now. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video so you can see the next video afterwards. Thank you so much.